Chosen one, listen to me carefully. What I am about to share is not for everyone. This message is urgent, and it is only meant for those who truly walk the divine path of God. If you are not serious about your spiritual calling, if you are not aligned with God's purpose, this message will not resonate with you, and it is better that you do not continue. But if you are here, it is not an accident. God allowed this message to reach you at the exact moment your spirit needed it most. Timing like this does not happen randomly. There is a real danger that arises when God's chosen ones begin to surpass the people around them. And most chosen ones are completely unprepared for what comes next. When you rise spiritually, mentally, and even emotionally, something shifts in your environment, and not everyone can handle it. This message will open your eyes to what is happening around you and within you. Stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to reveal may protect you from pain, confusion, and unnecessary battles. Before we continue, chosen ones, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, turn on the bell icon, and share this message with other chosen ones who need clarity, and comment 777 in the comments to declare that you are aligned with God's divine calling and ready to receive this truth.
The moment heaven paused, what already happened without you knowing. Chosen one, I want you to slow your breathing for a moment and listen with your spirit, not just your ears. Because what I am about to explain is the reason your life started feeling different without explanation. Long before anything changes on earth, heaven always moves first. God never waits for human awareness to act. He acts, then he reveals. And in your case, something already happened while you were not looking. There was a moment when heaven paused over your name, not because you were loud, not because you demanded answers, but because you endured. You kept going when clarity was absent. You prayed even when your prayers felt heavy. You stayed obedient when obedience felt unrewarded. That is when God intervened. Quietly, firmly, permanently. Many chosen ones believe spiritual breakthroughs feel dramatic. Lightning, voices, instant relief. But the deepest movements of God are silent. They are judicial. They are decisions made in the courts of heaven, not announcements made on earth. What happened to you was not emotional. It was authorized. A verdict was issued while you were still questioning yourself. You did not feel it because God protected you from the weight of it. Had you known too early, fear would have crept in. Pride might have tried to rise. Doubt could have interfered. So God kept you unaware while he secured the outcome. That is mercy. That is wisdom. There was a point where your faith was measured without you being told it was a test. Heaven observed how you handled delay, silence, misunderstanding, and emotional fatigue. You were watched when no one applauded you. You were examined when you thought you were forgotten. And it was in that season that heaven responded. You see, chosen one, heaven does not react to words. It responds to alignment. God is not moved by how much you speak about faith, but by how you carry yourself when faith feels costly. You kept your integrity in moments where compromise would have been easier. You restrained yourself when retaliation was justified. You stayed kind when bitterness would have made sense. Those moments did not go unnoticed. There was a spiritual checkpoint you crossed without ceremony, a point of no return. Once crossed, your assignment could no longer be aborted, delayed, or transferred. And when that happened, heaven did not celebrate loudly. Heaven became still, because what God confirmed over you was weighty. This is why your life started feeling strange afterward, not worse, just unfamiliar. Old motivations stopped driving you. Old desires lost their power. You began to feel disconnected from things that once felt normal. That was not confusion. That was transition. Your spirit was adjusting to a new spiritual jurisdiction. You may have thought nothing was happening because externally things looked the same. Same environment, same challenges, same unanswered questions. But internally something shifted. Your tolerance for certain energies dropped. Your patience with nonsense disappeared. Your appetite for shallow connections faded. Those were not personality changes. Those were spiritual signals. When heaven moves first, earth always lags behind. Manifestation is slower than authorization. That delay is not punishment, it is alignment. God allows time for structures, people, and circumstances to reposition so they don't collide with what He has already approved. This is why some doors suddenly closed without explanation, why certain people walked away without closure, why plans fell apart at the last minute. Heaven was clearing interference, not because those things were evil, but because they were no longer compatible with where you were being placed. You didn't fail. You graduated. And graduation in the spirit rarely feels celebratory. It feels lonely, quiet, heavy, because elevation comes with awareness, and awareness comes with responsibility. God does not elevate the chosen to make them comfortable. He elevates them to make them effective. There was a moment when God saw that you could be trusted with silence, trusted with waiting, trusted with not knowing. That is rare. Many want revelation before readiness. You accepted obedience without explanation, and that is why heaven responded. Chosen one, I need you to understand this clearly. What already happened cannot be undone. You are not trying to earn it anymore. You already passed the threshold. What you are waiting for now is not God's decision. It is earthly alignment. That is why your prayers lately feel different. You are not begging anymore. You are listening. That is why your spirit feels tired but peaceful. You are resting in certainty even without answers. That is why anxiety tries to attack you at night. Darkness senses the shift even if you don't fully understand it yet. Heaven already spoke your name. Heaven already responded. Heaven already moved pieces you cannot see yet. And the reason this message reached you now is because your mind is finally ready to understand what your spirit already knows. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are in between authorization and manifestation. And that space, chosen one, is sacred. In the next part, I will explain why even the archangels were stunned by what was released over you. Not to inflate your ego, but to stabilize your confidence. Because once you understand the level of authority involved, you will stop doubting what God has already sealed. Chosen one, let me add something here because this is where many lose their peace. The waiting space you are in right now is not empty. It is guarded, heavily guarded. When heaven releases something powerful, God does not rush its arrival. He protects it, and sometimes protection looks like delay. You wondered why things slowed down just when you felt ready. Why progress seemed invisible even though your faith was steady. That was not stagnation. That was concealment. God hides what is precious until the environment is safe enough to receive it. Even Jesus lived hidden years before public purpose. And if the Son of God had to be concealed, how much more those chosen to carry weighty assignments? Understand this clearly. There are things about you that are still hidden, not because you are unworthy, but because exposure too early would attract interference. Heaven knows timing better than desire. So while you waited, heaven worked. While you questioned, heaven secured. While you thought nothing changed, heaven adjusted outcomes in your favor. This is why certain prayers you stopped praying were still answered. This is why doors you gave up on were never truly closed. This is why some people could not harm you the way they intended to. You were already covered by a decision you didn't know was made. Your exhaustion lately is not weakness. It is the release of pressure after a long spiritual hold, like a soldier finally resting after standing guard too long. Your soul is exhaling because it knows something is settled, even if your mind hasn't fully caught up yet. So don't rush this moment. Don't fight the quiet. Don't try to force clarity. Peace is your confirmation. Stillness is your evidence. And the calm you feel in the middle of uncertainty is proof that heaven already stepped in. And now that you understand this, your spirit can stand upright again, because you were never waiting on God. God was positioning the world around what he already approved for you. Why the archangels are stunned. The level of authority released. Chosen one, listen closely now, because this part requires maturity. Not excitement, not emotion. Maturity. When I say even the archangels were stunned, I am not speaking in exaggeration. I am speaking of spiritual order. Angels do not react the way humans do. They are not impressed by noise, titles, or ambition. They respond to authority, and authority only comes from God himself. Archangels exist to enforce divine command. They move when God speaks, not when humans cry. So when heaven pauses, when angelic ranks become attentive, it means something weighty has been released, something that altered spiritual protocol. That is what happened concerning you. What stunned them was not what you asked for. It was what God entrusted to you without you even realizing it. You must understand this clearly. Heaven is familiar with faith. Heaven has seen prophets, martyrs, kings, and warriors. What heaven does not see often is quiet endurance without entitlement, obedience without recognition, faith without reward. That kind of posture carries authority most believers never touch. You endured seasons where obedience cost you relationships, where telling the truth made you misunderstood, where staying aligned with God made you appear foolish to others, and yet you did not turn bitter. You did not abandon your faith. You did not weaponize your pain. You carried it. That is rare. And heaven noticed. Archangels are witnesses to divine trust. They observe when God assigns responsibility that affects multiple lives, future generations, or spiritual territories. When God entrusts influence, not popularity. When he releases weight, not attention. That is when angelic attention sharpens. What stunned them was the level of restraint God found in you. You could have spoken when silence was wiser. You could have reacted when patience was holier. You could have defended yourself when surrender was safer. But you didn't. Not because you were weak, because your spirit was governed. Authority is not loud. Authority is settled. Heaven recognized that you had learned how to sit with unanswered questions without walking away from God. You learned how to be misunderstood without becoming defensive. You learned how to feel overlooked without becoming entitled. Those are not emotional skills. Those are spiritual ranks. Many want power before discipline. Many want influence before character. Many want revelation without responsibility. But God does not release authority to those who still need applause to obey. You reached a point where obedience became natural, not transactional. You stopped serving God for outcomes and started serving him from alignment. That is when heaven shifted. This is why the archangels were stunned, not because you are perfect, but because you were trustworthy. Trustworthiness moves heaven more than talent ever will. God saw that if he entrusted you with greater spiritual awareness, you would not misuse it. If he elevated your influence, you would not abandon humility. If he exposed you to deeper truth, you would not use it to feel superior, you would use it to serve. That kind of trust changes how heaven interacts with a soul. There are permissions that only activate after restraint is proven, access that only opens after ego is surrendered, assignments that only come after the need to be seen dies. You crossed that threshold, and here is what most chosen ones don't realize. When God releases authority, angels adjust their posture toward you. Not to worship you, never that, but to recognize the command God placed within you. This is why your prayers feel sharper now, why your discernment cuts quicker, why certain environments feel heavy while others feel peaceful. You are not becoming judgmental, you are becoming aware. Authority sharpens perception. This is also why resistance increased before things went quiet. Darkness always senses elevation before manifestation. Opposition rises not to stop you, but to test whether you will misuse what is coming. You passed that test by not reacting. Silence confused your enemies. Stillness disarmed them. You see, chosen one, heaven values self-control more than spiritual display. That is why angels responded. That is why heaven paused. That is why things shifted without your announcement. What was released over you is not something you need to chase. It is something you must carry well. And this is important. Authority does not mean everything will suddenly be easy. It means you will be able to stand steady when things are heavy. It means you will no longer be shaken by opinions. It means fear will knock, but it will not enter. That is the authority heaven respects. You may not feel powerful, and that is good. Power that announces itself is unstable. True authority feels like calm certainty, like knowing without needing to prove, like peace without explanation. That calm you are beginning to feel is not laziness. It is alignment. This is why I warned you earlier not to let this inflate your ego. Ego contaminates authority. Humility preserves it. Heaven responds to humility because humility keeps the channel clean. You were trusted because you learned how to bow without shrinking, how to submit without disappearing, how to stand firm without becoming hard. That balance stunned heaven. And now that you understand this, something inside you should settle, not rise, settle. Because you are not trying to become someone else. You are simply stepping fully into who God already confirmed you to be. In the next part, I will help you understand why the season you thought was punishment was actually preparation. And once you see that clearly, much of the confusion you carried will finally release its grip on your mind and body. Chosen one, let me add this carefully, because this is where humility must stay awake. The authority released over you does not give you permission to rush, correct, or confront. It gives you responsibility to remain steady. Heaven does not elevate people so they can speak more. Heaven elevates people so they can carry more without spilling it. This is why you have recently felt an inner restraint, a pause before reacting, a check in your spirit before speaking. That is not fear, that is governance. God placed a spiritual boundary around your words because your words now carry more weight than before. Silence is no longer absence. Silence is stewardship. Understand this. When heaven entrusts authority, it also increases accountability. You are being watched not with suspicion, but with expectation. Not to see if you will fail, but to see how gently you will handle what you know. This is why you must resist the urge to explain yourself. Revelation does not need validation. You don't need to announce what God is doing. The fruit will speak without noise, and those who need to understand will understand when heaven allows it. Until then, peace is your posture. Remain teachable, remain grounded, remain prayerful. Authority grows best in quiet soil, and as long as you keep your heart low and your faith high, what heaven released over you will unfold without strain. Now let us move forward, because the next truth will heal something you carried far longer than you realized. The season you thought was punishment. It was actually preparation. Chosen one, this is where many hearts finally soften. This is where the tightness in your chest begins to release. Because the season you judged so harshly was never meant to destroy you. It was designed to prepare you. And once you understand this, you will stop fighting your past and start honoring what it produced in you. You thought God was silent because you were doing something wrong. You assumed the delay meant disapproval. You questioned yourself at night, replaying conversations, decisions, and prayers, wondering where you missed it. But hear me clearly now. God was not punishing you. He was refining you. Punishment weakens. Preparation strengthens. Look back honestly. That season stripped you of illusions. It removed false support. It exposed dependencies you didn't know you had. You were forced to sit with yourself, with God, without distractions, without constant reassurance. And that discomfort was not cruelty, it was clarity. God does not prepare chosen ones in comfort. Comfort breeds dependency. Preparation builds discernment. You were placed in situations where your strength failed on purpose. So you would stop trusting your own capacity and start relying on God's presence. You were allowed to feel small, so you would stop trying to be impressive. You were allowed to feel alone, so you would stop outsourcing your peace to people. That loneliness you felt was not abandonment. It was separation. God separates before he assigns. He isolates before he elevates. Because what he places on a chosen life requires a different level of internal stability. And stability is forged, not gifted. You learn to pray without urgency, to trust without evidence, to wait without resentment. Those lessons cannot be taught in seasons of abundance. They are learned in valleys where only faith keeps you standing. You thought you were being overlooked, but God was observing how you handled obscurity. You thought nothing was happening, but God was watching how you treated others when you had nothing to gain. You thought your life was paused, but God was checking if you could be faithful without momentum. That season taught you emotional regulation. You stopped reacting to every provocation. You learned when to speak and when to stay quiet. You learned that not every battle requires a response. That wisdom alone saved you from many unnecessary wounds. It also taught you empathy. You became softer, not weaker. You stopped judging quickly. You became more patient with broken people. You understood pain from the inside out. That compassion is not accidental. God does not give influence to those who lack mercy, and he does not give authority to those who lack understanding. You were being shaped to lead without control, to guide without force, to serve without superiority. Think about it. If God had elevated you before that season, you would have carried unhealed wounds into places of responsibility. You might have led from pain instead of wisdom, from insecurity instead of clarity. God protected others by first healing you. That delay saved you. And yes, it hurt. Preparation is uncomfortable because it challenges identity. You had to let go of versions of yourself that were built on survival instead of purpose. You had to unlearn habits that once protected you but now restricted you. You had to release relationships that no longer matched your spiritual posture. Loss was part of the curriculum. Not everything you lost was meant to follow you forward. Some things served you for a season and expired. God does not remove to punish. He removes to lighten your load. This is why that season felt heavy. You were carrying things you were never meant to take into your next assignment. God reduced your baggage so you could move freely when the time came. And here is something important. Preparation does not announce itself. While you were in it, all you felt was fatigue, confusion, emotional exhaustion. But now, looking back, you can see how much you grew, how much calmer you are, how much clearer your boundaries have become. That growth did not come from ease, it came from endurance. You now have a tolerance for silence, a capacity for waiting, a strength that doesn't need recognition. Those qualities are rare, and they are exactly what your next season requires. So stop labeling that season as punishment. It was holy, it was intentional, it was necessary. You were being trained to hold weight without collapsing, to receive blessing without losing humility, to walk in clarity without arrogance. And now that preparation is complete, something else begins to happen. You stop blaming yourself for the delay. You stop resenting the process. You stop questioning God's goodness. Peace replaces pressure. You begin to trust that even when you don't understand what God is doing, He is still doing something good. That trust changes how you walk forward. You no longer rush. You no longer panic. You move with patience. And patience is a sign of readiness. Chosen one, if God brought you through that season, it is because He knew you could survive it. And if you survived it, it is because it shaped you into someone capable of what comes next. In the next part, I will explain the secret mark you carry and why darkness recognized you long before you recognized yourself. And when you understand that, many of your past struggles will finally make sense. Chosen one, let me deepen this truth, because there is still healing here. Some of the pain you carried from that season was not just from what happened, but from how you interpreted it. You blamed yourself for delays that were divine. You took responsibility for silence that was intentional, and that self-blame quietly exhausted you. God never asked you to carry that weight. That season also rewired your nervous system. You learned how to stay calm under pressure, how to function while uncertain, how to keep moving even when motivation disappeared. Those were not survival traits meant to last forever. They were training muscles. And now, God is teaching you how to rest without guilt. Rest is not regression. Rest is recalibration. You were taught to slow down because your next assignment requires clarity, not speed. Rushing would have distorted your discernment. God needed you grounded, not reactive, stable, not overstimulated. That is why things felt slow. Heaven was adjusting your internal pace to match your future responsibility. You also learned how to hear God without emotional noise. In that quiet season, you discovered the difference between fear and intuition, between anxiety and discernment. That awareness alone sets you apart. Many confuse their emotions for divine instruction. You learn to wait until peace confirmed the direction. That is maturity. And let me say this clearly, because your heart needs to hear it. God is not disappointed in you. He never was. He was proud of how you carried yourself when no one was watching. Proud of how you didn't harden. Proud of how you didn't walk away. Even when you doubted yourself, God trusted you. That season did not break you. It clarified you. It stripped away what was never truly you. And now, you stand lighter, wiser, more centered. So when memories from that time try to return with shame or regret, correct them gently. Remind yourself that you were in training, not trouble, that you were being prepared, not rejected. Because what God is about to do through you requires someone who has known both pressure and peace, someone who understands suffering but chooses compassion, someone who has been emptied enough to be filled rightly, and chosen one, that someone is you. The secret. Mark you carry. Why darkness recognized you first. Chosen one, there is something about you that was visible long before you became aware of it. And no, I am not speaking about appearance, talent, or personality. I am speaking about a spiritual mark, a signature placed by God that does not announce itself, yet never hides. Darkness noticed it before you did. That is why your life felt contested early on. This is where many misunderstand their story. They assume resistance means they are doing something wrong. But in the spiritual realm, resistance often means you are doing something right. Darkness does not waste energy on what carries no future threat. It reacts to potential, to calling, to authority not yet manifested, but already assigned. You were targeted not because you were weak, but because you were dangerous in ways you didn't understand yet. That secret mark is discernment. Discernment is not suspicion, it is clarity. It allows you to sense what cannot be explained logically. You felt shifts in rooms before words were spoken. You sensed intentions before actions revealed them. You knew when something was off, even when everything looked fine on the surface. That awareness is not anxiety. It is spiritual sensitivity. This is why certain environments drained you, why shallow conversations exhausted you, why some people were uncomfortable around you without knowing why. Your spirit could see through masks. And that exposure made darkness uneasy. From a young age, you felt different, not superior, different. You questioned things others accepted blindly. You felt a pull toward truth, even when truth isolated you. That is not rebellion. That is calling. Darkness recognizes those who will eventually disrupt its comfort, so it tries to confuse them early, to overwhelm them, to distract them, to make them doubt their perception. Many chosen ones grow up believing something is wrong with them when, in truth, something powerful is within them. The mark you carry also makes you resistant to manipulation. You may not always have had the words, but you had the feeling. That inner check that stopped you from walking into traps others fell into easily. You escaped things you cannot fully explain. That was not luck. That was coverage. This is also why attacks came in subtle forms. emotional exhaustion, self-doubt, isolation, confusion. Darkness rarely attacks chosen ones openly at first. It tries to wear them down quietly, to make them question their worth, to make them disconnect from their spiritual center. But notice this: you are still here. Despite everything, you did not lose your faith. You may have questioned it, wrestled with it, even cried over it, but you did not abandon it. That alone tells me the mark was protected. God does not place discernment in a soul without guarding it. He allows testing, yes, but never destruction. This is why your spirit reacts strongly to inauthenticity, why you cannot tolerate spiritual games or emotional manipulation, why you value truth even when it costs you comfort. That integrity is part of the mark. And let me be clear, this mark does not make you perfect. It makes you responsible. Responsible to guard your heart, to stay grounded, to remain prayerful. Discernment without humility becomes judgment. Discernment with humility becomes wisdom. You have grown into this awareness gradually. At first, it overwhelmed you. Now, it steadies you. You are learning how to use it without letting it drain you. That is growth. Darkness recognized you first because it knows timing. It knows that once discernment is matured, deception loses its grip. And you are reaching that stage now. This is why confusion is lifting, why old cycles are breaking, why patterns that once repeated are ending. You are no longer reacting blindly. You are responding consciously. The mark is no longer just present. It is active. And here is something important. With discernment comes solitude, not loneliness, solitude. Fewer but deeper connections, quieter environments, clearer intentions. God reduces noise so discernment can function accurately. Do not fight that. Honor it. Chosen one, you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to see clearly. And that clarity is what darkness feared from the beginning. In the next part, I will help you recognize the shift you are feeling right now and the signs that heaven's verdict has already been issued in your favor. And when you see those signs, you will stop doubting the season you are in. Chosen one, there is another layer to this mark that must be understood, because without understanding it, many chosen ones turn inward in unhealthy ways. Discernment does not mean constant alertness. It does not mean suspicion toward everyone. God never intended this mark to become a burden. What you are learning now is balance. Earlier in your life, your sensitivity made you tired because you were always scanning, always sensing, always adjusting. That was necessary for survival. But now, God is teaching you how to rest in discernment rather than strain under it. You are learning that you don't need to analyze everything. Peace will alert you when attention is required. That is growth. This is also why your circle is smaller now, not because you are antisocial, but because discernment prefers depth over volume. You no longer need many voices. You need aligned ones. God is protecting your energy so your clarity remains sharp. There is also something else. The mark you carry makes you a mirror. People see themselves more clearly around you, not because you expose them intentionally, but because truth resonates through your presence. That can make some uncomfortable. Do not personalize their reactions. You are not responsible for how others respond to truth. Your responsibility is stewardship. Guard your mind, guard your heart. Choose environments that feel peaceful, not stimulating. Avoid spiritual overload. Too much information dulls discernment. Silence sharpens it. And remember this: the mark you carry is not for isolation. It is for guidance. God will bring the right people at the right time, those who are not threatened by clarity but strengthened by it. So stop questioning why your path looks different. It was designed that way. And now, as you step into the next phase, discernment will no longer feel heavy. It will feel like home, because you are no longer just marked. You are aligned. The shift you are feeling now. Signs the verdict was already issued. Chosen one, if you have been feeling a quiet but undeniable change inside you, this is where it comes from. Not from motivation, not from external success, but from a verdict already issued in the spiritual realm. Long before outcomes show up in your physical life, your spirit begins to adjust. And that adjustment is what you are feeling now. The first sign is calm without explanation. Things that once triggered anxiety no longer have the same grip on you. Not because problems disappeared, but because your nervous system stopped reacting the same way. You are less frantic, less rushed, less desperate for answers. That is not resignation. That is assurance. Another sign is emotional detachment from cycles that once controlled you. Old patterns no longer pull you in the same direction. Temptations that once felt intense now feel distant. You are not forcing discipline. Discipline is forming naturally. That only happens when internal alignment has shifted. You may also notice a strange mix of tiredness and peace. Your body feels like it has been carrying weight for a long time and is finally allowed to rest. That fatigue is not burnout, it is release, like muscles relaxing after prolonged tension. Your relationships are also changing. You feel less inclined to explain yourself, less interested in convincing people, less affected by opinions. That does not mean you stopped caring, it means you stopped needing validation. Authority removes the need for approval. You also sense a growing discomfort with noise, not just sound, but mental noise. Too much talking, too much information, too much stimulation. Your spirit now prefers simplicity, clarity, stillness. That is because discernment works best in quiet environments. You might also notice heightened awareness, not anxiety. Awareness. You pick up on things quickly now. You sense when something is aligned and when it is not. You don't overthink it. You simply adjust. That is evidence of maturity. Sleep patterns may have shifted. Dreams may feel more symbolic, or you may sleep deeper than before. These are signs of internal recalibration. When heaven issues a verdict, the soul adjusts first, then the body follows. Another important sign is your reaction to delay. You are waiting, yes, but you are not panicking. You are not spiraling. You are not bargaining with God the way you used to. You trust, even when you don't understand. That trust is not learned overnight. It is earned through endurance. This is also why sudden moments of gratitude appear, not because everything is perfect, but because you sense protection. You realize how many things could have gone wrong but didn't, how many outcomes were redirected without your awareness. You may also feel less interested in proving anything. You don't feel the urge to announce progress. You are content moving quietly. That is not secrecy. That is confidence. This shift is subtle but profound. It marks the transition from seeking to receiving, from striving to stewarding, from asking to aligning. And here is the most important sign. Peace, not excitement, not adrenaline. Peace. Peace that holds you steady even when nothing has fully changed yet. That peace is not emotional. It is spiritual confirmation. Chosen one, peace only arrives when something is settled. That is why you feel different. That is why this message resonates. That is why your spirit feels seen right now. The verdict was already issued. What you are experiencing is the echo of that decision moving through your life. In the next part, I will guide you on your responsibility after this revelation so you don't misuse the season you are entering. Because awareness without wisdom can disrupt what heaven has carefully arranged. Chosen one, let me take this deeper, because what you are sensing now goes beyond emotion. There is a structural shift happening inside you, not loud, not dramatic, structural. The way you think, the way you interpret events, the way you respond to uncertainty is changing at its foundation. You no longer feel the need to control outcomes. That is a major sign. Control is born from fear. Surrender is born from trust. And trust only comes when the spirit knows the decision has already been made in its favor. You still care, you still plan, but you are no longer frantic. You move, but you don't chase. Notice how your prayers have changed. They are shorter, quieter, less desperate. You speak to God like someone who is heard, not like someone trying to convince. Silence now feels productive instead of empty. That is alignment. Another sign is how quickly you recover. Things still hurt, but they don't derail you the way they used to. Disappointments don't spiral into identity crises. You feel the emotion, then you return to center. That emotional regulation is evidence that your inner world is stabilizing. You may also feel a strange loss of interest in things that once defined you. Certain goals no longer excite you. Certain ambitions feel hollow. That does not mean you are losing passion. It means your priorities are being purified. God is removing motivations that were rooted in comparison, fear, or validation. What remains will be cleaner, more focused, more aligned. There is also a subtle increase in patience. Not forced patience, but natural patience. You are willing to wait because waiting no longer feels unsafe. That tells me your spirit trusts the process now. You are no longer counting days. You are living them. Pay attention to how you respond to chaos around you. While others panic, you observe. While others rush, you pause. While others react emotionally, you respond thoughtfully. That is not detachment. That is authority expressing itself quietly. Another sign is your sensitivity to peace. You can no longer tolerate environments that disturb your inner calm. Not because you are fragile, but because peace has become your reference point. Anything that disrupts it feels foreign. God is teaching you to protect your inner state because your clarity depends on it. You may also feel moments of deep reassurance without a clear reason, a sudden sense that everything will be okay. Not wishful thinking, not denial, assurance. That is the spirit confirming what the mind has not fully processed yet. And let me say this gently. If you sometimes feel emotional release without knowing why, that is your body letting go of survival mode. Tears without story, sighs without explanation. That is stored tension leaving. Healing is happening beneath your awareness. You are also becoming less reactive to criticism. Opinions pass through you instead of lodging inside you. That tells me your identity is stabilizing. You are no longer building yourself from external feedback. You are rooted internally. Chosen one, these signs are not random. They are the evidence of a verdict already issued. You are not waiting for permission anymore. You are waiting for manifestation. So don't rush clarity. Don't force answers. Don't mistake quiet for stagnation. This season is not empty. It is aligned. Remain present. Remain prayerful. Remain grounded. Because when what heaven has already approved begins to appear visibly, you will need this inner stability more than excitement, and you are being prepared for that moment now. Your responsibility after this revelation: how to walk forward correctly. Chosen one, revelation changes responsibility. Once you understand what God has already done, how you move matters more than ever. This is not the season to rush, prove, or announce. This is the season to steward. Heaven did not reveal this truth to inflate your confidence. It revealed it to stabilize your posture. The first responsibility is restraint. You must resist the urge to speak prematurely. Not everyone is assigned to understand what God is doing in you. Some are only meant to see the fruit later. Explanation too early invites interference. Silence protects what is still forming. This does not mean secrecy born from fear. It means wisdom born from discernment. There is a difference. You are learning when to share and when to hold, when to speak and when to remain still. That balance will preserve what God is building. The second responsibility is humility. Authority grows best in low soil. The moment ego rises, clarity blurs. You must guard against spiritual pride disguised as confidence. Confidence rests. Pride compares. Confidence listens. Pride speaks unnecessarily. Stay grounded. Stay teachable. Remember this: everything you carry was entrusted, not earned. Gratitude keeps the channel open. Entitlement clogs it. The third responsibility is discipline. Not harsh discipline. Gentle consistency. Maintain your prayer life even when you feel strong. Read scripture not for information, but alignment. Choose routines that support peace rather than stimulation. Your inner environment matters now more than ever. Discipline keeps authority clean. The fourth responsibility is patience. You are in the space between confirmation and manifestation. This is where many disrupt their own breakthrough by rushing. Let God unfold things in His order. Timing is not delay. Timing is protection. Trust it. You may feel the urge to do something just to feel productive. Resist that urge. Stillness is not inactivity, it is alignment. The fifth responsibility is compassion. As you grow in awareness, you will notice others still trapped in cycles you escaped. Do not judge them. Remember how long your process took. Lead gently. Speak with kindness. Authority without compassion becomes control. Your calling is not to correct everyone, it is to remain aligned. You must also learn how to rest without guilt. Rest is obedience in this season. Overexertion will dull your discernment. God does not need you exhausted to use you. He needs you clear. Pay attention to what drains you now. Conversations that feel heavy, environments that feel chaotic, obligations that disrupt peace. You are allowed to choose differently. Stewardship includes boundaries. Another responsibility is obedience without urgency. You will receive subtle nudges rather than loud instructions. A sense to pause, a feeling to wait, a thought to redirect. Honor those quiet instructions. God is refining your sensitivity. Obedience now will feel less dramatic, but more precise. You may also notice that blessings come quietly. Opportunities without announcement, favor without fanfare. Receive them with humility. You don't need to broadcast every win. And here is something crucial. Do not revisit old seasons mentally. Do not rehearse pain you already healed from. That pulls you backward emotionally. Honor your growth by staying present. Chosen one, walking forward correctly does not require perfection. It requires attentiveness. Stay aware of your inner state. When peace leaves, pause. When clarity blurs, pray. When confusion arises, wait. God is not asking you to figure everything out. He is asking you to stay aligned. If you do that, what heaven already approved will manifest without strain. And when it does, you will be able to carry it without losing yourself. In the final part, I will bring this all together and leave you with the calm assurance your spirit needs right now. Chosen one, let me add this final layer of guidance, because this is where many unknowingly step out of alignment. As clarity increases, so does sensitivity. You may feel emotions more deeply, sense shifts more quickly, and notice inner prompts more often. Do not mistake this for instability, it is refinement. Your responsibility now is to respond, not react. Reaction comes from old survival patterns. Response comes from grounded awareness. When something unsettles you, pause before engaging. Give your spirit space to lead your mind. You will find that many things resolve themselves without your intervention. Another responsibility is trust in small steps. God is not asking you to leap. He is asking you to walk. One obedient decision at a time. One calm choice. One moment of patience. Great outcomes are built from small alignments repeated consistently. You must also protect your inner dialogue. As your outer world shifts, your inner voice must remain kind. Do not pressure yourself to perform spiritually. You are not proving anything anymore. You are becoming. Comparison is no longer useful to you. It will only distort your focus. Your path is specific. Your timing is intentional. Measure progress by pace, not speed. Also understand this. Some people will only recognize your growth once they need it. Until then, they may overlook it. That is okay. Validation is not your assignment. Your assignment is stewardship. Stay anchored in prayer. Not long, forced prayers. Honest ones, simple ones. God hears you quickly now because your spirit is settled. And when doubt whispers, return to what you know. Heaven already moved. The verdict was already issued. You are walking forward, not waiting to begin. Carry yourself gently. Move wisely. Stay grounded, because the way you walk in this season will determine how peacefully you enter the next. Conclusion. The calm before visible manifestation. Chosen one, take a deep breath and let your shoulders rest. What God has done concerning you is already settled. You are not standing at the edge of uncertainty anymore. You are standing in the quiet space where heaven has spoken and earth is still catching up. Nothing you endured was wasted. Nothing you carried was overlooked. Every silent prayer, every restrained reaction, every moment you chose faith over frustration was seen. And because it was seen, it was answered. Not loudly, not hurriedly, but thoroughly. This calm you feel now is not emptiness, it is readiness. It is the stillness that comes when striving ends and alignment begins. You are not waiting for permission. You are walking with confirmation, and what God confirms, no force can reverse. Do not rush what is unfolding. Do not doubt what is already sealed. Let peace lead you. Let patience guard you. Let humility keep you grounded. What is meant for you will arrive without force, without chaos, and without you losing yourself in the process. Remember this always. God does not bring his chosen ones this far to abandon them in silence. He brings them here to teach them how to trust without fear. If this message spoke to your spirit, chosen one, take a moment now to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Tap the bell icon and share this message with other chosen ones who need this confirmation. And comment 777 in the comments as a seal of alignment, peace, and readiness for what God has already released over your life. Walk gently, stay faithful, and trust what heaven has already decided for you.